Welcome to Smacky's Garage, where today we're going to be replacing the seat frame on our 1969 Mustang and then installing it back in the car. Part 2 of the video series, where originally we took the seat out to look at what was wrong. We found the broken pin on the side of the frame and we're going to be replacing it. So after I took the seat out, I started doing some research to figure out what happened, why did the seat break? And what I found is there was actually a recall back in the 1970s. Apparently, these little pins on this side were breaking off. That would cause the seat back to just drop backwards. And if it drops backwards, you can't access a steering wheel anymore. Can't get the brakes or the pedals. Glad I'm replacing this here and making sure that I get it right. So the seat backs that I got are from Dynacorn. I got them from National Parts Depot. They look really good condition. I mean, there's a few spots where there's a little bit of either damage or some rust, so I'm gonna end up painting them to make them right. But overall, it looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and take them and let's go ahead and hit them with a quick spray paint. No, it's probably not necessary to do this painting here, but I wanted to make sure that it was completely covered so that there's no chance of rust or any corrosion that could happen again. So now they're together, painted. We'll set them aside, let them dry, and take the rest of the other seat apart. So these bumpers here actually, when you set the seat back, they sit up against the plastic pieces on the seat back to hold it in place. So over time, they do get damaged, and you should replace them every once in a while, or at least inspect them. The bottom pieces look good here, but the top pieces are completely destroyed. So I'm going to see if I can take one out of the other seats for now to use on here. So let me go ahead and take these out. Back. So I got the pin out. Looks like there is a washer here. Since I can't exactly see what's holding it in, I'm just going to drill it and collapse this. Now that we have the pin off, I'm wondering if these are going to go to the same fate. I've tried oiling them up. It looks like someone has stripped them in the past trying to take them apart, so they might be drilled out too. Luckily, with the new one that just came, it came with new bolts. So I can look at them, drill them out, and then reuse these bolts over here. So the main goal here with this and kind of these bolts is I really don't care about this, how the seat frame turns out. What I want to do is I want to save this external cover. They're really hard to come by. You're not going to really find one that's original anymore. So my goal is to save this. And if that means we have to drill these out to take them out, so be it. This is ending up being a much bigger job than I thought. If you look in here, there's hog rings all around the inside holding this frame to the padding. So you need to cut all of these out. And they're not easy to get to, so make sure you get something sharp that you feel comfortable using for a while. It's finally apart. So this took all of 4 hours to get all these rings off. I actually had to run back to Home Depot and get another pair of diagonal cutters because the first pair wore out. So now that we have them apart, let's take a look and see what's broken to compare one to the other. So here we have the good one and the broken one. So you can see someone drilled a hole here, which would correspond to up here on this new one, versus having the pivot point be here, which is obviously broken off. So now that we have this identified, we can start putting it back together and put it back together correctly. But overall, when we look at this, they look pretty much the same. You can see that pins in the same location, 2 holes there. Probably going to have to open those up. So both of these holes are getting tapped to 832. It matches the bolt that was originally in this, or the bolt that came out of it. Now it's a good thing to check these before you do this, or else you'd be kind of in trouble trying to tap through the seat cover itself. All right, back to putting it back together. So to pull it back together, I'm going to start from the back and I'm going to work my way up to the front. That'll, I believe, will be the easiest way, but we'll see. Finishing it up. It's all back, it's coming back together, you know, making the cover itself taut against the seat frame itself. And what we're doing is we're putting them all back together using hog ring pliers. So this is a hog ring. A hog ring essentially is going to capture two things and it's going to pull them together when you clamp them. So you need special tools for it. You put this in. You put this around the two tools and then you squeeze. When you squeeze it, it'll bend and then you can collapse it on itself. So I'm going to skip ahead rather than you sit here, watch me do this for an hour. All right, next comes the bumpers. These you got to fish around a little bit for. Try to figure out where that hole is. On the other side of this leather. On the other side of the vinyl. Found it. It's right here. After you find it, just screws it right in. After you've tapped the threads, it makes it so much easier. Alright, now we're ready to go back together on top. Both seat tracks are put back into place. So you have this here, which allows it to click, open, and close, and then it's attached to the other side. Springs are back in place. Now we can get the rest together. One of the last things we need to do is we need to put this catch back on for the seat latch. So you can see this is pretty well lined up. Okay, it's going to take some pushing, but should essentially just go right in. Alright, so I got the seat latch back in. Ended up using the original one from before. Just really don't need to use the one that came with it. I think the original one looks more correct for it, but they're essentially the same. Now I need to take some parts off of the other seats. I need to get the giant washer that goes here, have the clips, and then we'll get to put the seat back on. Looking at the seat, I can now know why it was ripped. It was because they did not have the washers on it that the others did. So I'm going to end up putting these in place. You know, this shouldn't really be visible with the cover on top of it and the arm over it. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on and get the seat back together. You can see the way that this is going to be set up. It's, you got your washer, you have your bracket, and then you have the cotter pin, or a pin here on the outside holding it in. So now that's done, I'll put the covers on and we'll get it in the car. Yeah, this is so much better. So now that I'm in the car, I'm realizing that I was having trouble reaching the gas pedal before, and I had to have the seat all the way up because the right side seat was so far back that I was sitting at like an angle. But now I actually have room to get in and out of the car, and I'm not crammed in here. So I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. The seat's nice and sturdy. It definitely feels a lot better. And everything seems to be good. Check this. Yep, move forward, move back. So I am good. I am good. Thanks for tuning in on Smacky's Garage. Don't forget to like this video. It really helps out. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Next week, we're going to be replacing the steering wheel with a rim blow wheel. So don't forget to look for that notification. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.